Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. Some of these stories, they really get you depressed. But at least I am happy that when we post these stories, we hope to help someone out there. Because the most people that are taken advantage of because of their kind hearts, they are your Christians. They are the ones that are most taken advantage of because they are quick to believe some of these so-called men of God. So these so-called men of God, they know that most of the people that are kind-hearted, they are your Christians. Strange things do happen in this world. The message that I have for you, it reads like this. Hello, my brother. How are you? I have come here on your platform because I want to share with you my own side of the story. So, my brother, what happened is that my uncle, he started his church. This was in the year 2017. And I just want to pray for Africa. And I hope that my uncle is not going to succeed in his mission. So, my family, when we trace our bloodline, our tribe, it is said that our tribe, it started in Mozambique, but we can trace our roots going all the way to Eastern Africa. Most of the people in Zim, they can trace their roots going back to Eastern Africa. That is where it all started. And when our uncle started to search and research about this history during the lockdown, when we were here in South Africa, all of a sudden, that was when my father called me. And my father is someone that is always happy at all the times. When he was still alive, he was a man that was always joyful. And whenever he would call me, he would say, "Oh, dear daughter, when are you going to send me some rands so that I can go and drink some beer? I know that you have money. Send me some money." But at that time, when my old man called me, he did not call me using WhatsApp, but he actually called me using his like a normal voice call. And he told me that he did not have a lot of airtime. He had only managed to recharge $5 worth of airtime. And he told me that there was something that was very important that he wanted to tell me. And when I looked at the time, I saw that it was somewhere around 11 p.m. So because of knowing that my father is an old man, I thought that maybe something has gone wrong back home. And I nearly cried when I heard that my father wanted us to discuss something that was really important. So immediately I rushed over to WhatsApp and I started to speak with my father. So my father then said, "I don't know what your uncle is planning, but I am scared that whatever your uncle is planning, it is not something that is nice." I then said, "What is going on? Please tell me what is going on." My father then revealed it to me that my uncle had traveled against the wishes of everyone in the family to Mozambique. And whilst he was there in Mozambique, he had called my father back and he had said that he had been told by some of the traditional healer there in Mozambique that we had to do this ceremony that is called Kurova Guva. So in our country, when we say Kurova Guva, what it means is that we go to the grave of our relative that would have passed away. Then we can actually put a tombstone, but it is not about just placing a tombstone. It is about pouring beer on top of the grave, informing the spirit of the deceased that we have not forgotten about them. Then we actually invite the spirit of the deceased back into their family. So these rituals, they had been done a very long time ago. And as we were growing up, our parents, they stopped doing this. Even our uncle, he had also stopped doing this. So my father was really worried. I then said to my father, "Why are you worried? Because we'll just do this ritual anyway, then we will forget about it." Then my father then said the reason as to why we stopped it, it was because we are a family of traditional healers. Your grandfather was a traditional healer. Your grandmother was a healer. Going back for so many centuries, we have been a family, a bloodline of traditional healers with supernatural powers. So my father was saying that the problem that happened in the family was that people, they then started to kill each other, relatives turning against each other because they all wanted to have the same powers. Because in each and every generation, the spirit that will teach people to become traditional healer, it will only choose one amongst the young people that will be growing in our family, one per generation. So the problem was that everyone wanted this same gift, because when you are a healer, then this means that money, people will be bringing their livestock to you, people will be bringing you some money. So what happened was that in the family, there were people that were actually getting rich, and there were those that were just poor, and this is the reason as to why people started to fight against each other. Then my father was worried about this, because it happened that when my father was still young, this same spirit of being a traditional healer, it came back, and that auntie of ours, the one whom our uncle, who was in Mozambique at that time, he had said that we need to go to her grave so that we can invite a spirit back into the family's compound. She was the one who was supposed to be a traditional healer, but unfortunately, what happened was that then some of our relatives, they felt jealous, and they said, how can the spirit choose a woman, yet there are many boys that have been born into this generation? Because she is a woman, if she gets married and if she is a traditional healer, then she is going to enrich the family in which she is going to get married to. So there was a big fight until our auntie died. So when our auntie died, her grave was forgotten, because people were scared of our auntie, because she actually had spiritual powers. Even when she died, she refused to be buried. When our auntie was lying in her coffin, we were told that she actually refused to be buried. She said to the one who killed me, yes, I know you. When you killed me, you thought that maybe this is going to be the end of me, but it has only started, and I want you to feast on my flesh, for I do not need my flesh anymore. My spirit is much more stronger, and I'm going to come after you. So people were even afraid of our auntie because of what her spirit had said. So this is the reason as to why her grave had been forgotten, because it was said that the villagers, they used to see the spirit of our auntie several times. They kept on seeing the spirit of our auntie. So my father was even scared, because everyone knew that if the spirit of our auntie was going to be allowed back into the family, maybe it was going to cause a lot of problems. But my father, he had gone to Mozambique, and my father was now chasing after this power of him wanting to become a traditional healer. So at that time, because of the COVID-19 that was happening, there was no unity in the family. So that was when our uncle took that opportunity and did whatever that he did. And when he came back, I think that he used some of the charms on the relatives that were supporting him, and those that did not support him, they passed away. My father died, and after my father, that was when 3 of my father's sisters died. So as for now, the people that have died since COVID-19, we have buried 8 of my relatives, the ones that were fighting against my uncle. So as for me, my husband then said, I do not want you to fight against your uncle. You see what have happened, the way that your relatives are dying. If you keep on praying and if you keep on fasting, because at that time I was fasting and praying, declaring war against my uncle. And here in South Africa, what had actually happened was that my boss had threatened to fire me out of nowhere. So my husband said, take this as a warning. Stop whatever you are doing. You are not as powerful as your uncle. Then I stopped praying. When I stopped praying, then our uncle told us that we were supposed to come to Zim. I actually refused because I didn't want to go and do this ceremony. But my uncle, one day, he called me. This was somewhere around 3 a.m. When he called me, he said, daughter, I want you to get on the next bus that is leaving South Africa tomorrow. I want you in Zim. And that is what I did. I spoke with my husband, and strange enough, my husband, who had refused, he said, I am going with you. We then returned back to Zim together, and the ceremony was done. We went on our auntie's grave, and then we called upon the spirit of our auntie. We then returned into the compound with the spirit of our auntie. From there on, that was when we started to hear that our uncle had actually started his own church. And the way that our uncle started his own church, it is really strange, because where he is said to have started his church, it was in the mountain, and he would go into the mountain. It was him, his wife, and his 3 kids. And when they would go up there, they will spend the whole of Saturday and Sunday praying in the mountain. And after that, that was when he returned back to his home, which is in Harare. That is where he has his small congregation. Each and every day I pray, and I am even scared to mention his name, because I know how much spiritual power he has. And I just pray that this man is not going to become one of the next popular pastor that is going to come out of Zim. Because if this man is allowed to be popular, I feel so sorry for the rest of the continent, because this man, he has so much spiritual power. Mind you, my uncle is very different from these pastors that you think you know. We are a family of powerful traditional healers, and this is where my uncle is getting his powers. So one of my uncle's daughter, my cousin sister, the one who really gives me a lot of information, when I last spoke with her, she then said, my father said that he does not want to become a dirty traditional healer because people are not going to give him a lot of money. My cousin sister said that my uncle one day got up from where he was sitting in his consultation room, and he said that I am tired of being always dressed so dirty like this. No one is going to come and give me their riches when I am looking dirty like this. So my uncle's wife then asked my uncle what he meant by that. It was then said that my uncle then said, if I become a pastor, oh yes, if I become a pastor, then people willingly, they are going to come and they are going to give me their wealth. As much as I want, as much as my heart desire, I am going to make them to give me money. So this is my own confession, my brother. As for the family, if you try to stand up and if you try to present yourself as the enemy of our uncle, then the rest of the family, they will just hate you. Me and my brother, I have my brother who is in Cape Town there. We are no longer talking to each other because my young brother who is in Cape Town right now is going to a Bible school. This Bible school is being paid for by my uncle. So the thing is that when he graduates, he's supposed to go back to Zim to assist our uncle. The things that they are planning, I don't think that it is something that has been inspired by God, but it has been inspired by the love of money, and it has been inspired by the devil himself. This is my own confession. Please try to post it as soon as possible. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear sister. Strange things do happen in this world. So we are living in an age whereby traditional healers are now becoming pastors. Strange things do happen in this world.